Well, ladies and gentlemen, I think we can confidently say that this is a disaster for the Democratic Party. The polling numbers are coming in, and people, the American people, are not siding with them on this issue of riots and illegal immigration. It's kind of funny, but it's what they deserve. If you recall, they made everything about Kilmore Abrega Garcia. Say his name, Kilmore Abrega Garcia. And they got exactly what they were asking for. So now you got riots, and you got the American people turning against you. They have put out the best commercials. When I say that, watching the riot footage, and I'm going to show you some of these things. Some of these things that if you just watch them, it's some of the best commercials for the 2026 midterms that there will ever be. I mean, they are full on making a case for why nobody should ever vote for a Democrat.
This is so ridiculous. This doesn't look like this is for they're protesting for ICE or anything. This is they're doing just for the looting the stores and everything. I saw they break into the Apple store, they break into the Adidas store. This is not they're doing protest.
If you are some Mexican that is looking for black people to be in solidarity with you during these ICE protests, you need to look somewhere else, because this black person is not in solidarity with you. I, in fact, love this country. I love America. I fought to defend America. I will continue to protect and defend America. And all of the Mexicans that are talking about, oh, well, why aren't black people helping us? They should be helping us with all this stuff, blah, blah, blah. These are the same people that are waving the Mexican flag, that are burning the American flag. And by the way, these are the same people that don't really care about black people all that much. They just want to use us for solidarity, and they want to use us to push their agendas when it is convenient for them. So to all of you, I have to say, if you want solidarity with black people, you need to go find it somewhere else.
My mama, what I kept thinking is, he must be seeing her already, and they're still not letting her. They're not letting his nut come. So I'm here to tell you, we will march as a department with everybody in this community. I will march until I can't stand no more. But I will not, like Truth said, I will not allow anyone to tear down this city, because this is our city. And don't pay close attention. Because these little white guys with their skateboards are the ones that are starting all the shit everywhere. Knowing full well that black people and brown people are angry, and knowing that they will start. If they start it, we will follow. Don't follow that bullshit. That's the devil's work. They want to tear our communities down because they know communities of color need the police more than anybody.
Imagine for a moment, you a billionaire. I'm talking about Walmart type money billionaire. I'm talking about George Soros type billionaire. And you just dumping all these dollars into this overthrow of the United States of America. This communist CCP Marxism socialistic movement with a sprinkle of transhumanism on top of it. Everybody keeps talking about this gender. No, it's transhumanism, right? They just want you to be able to change genders. Then later on, you're going to be able to not be a human. They already told you they got people who identify as toasters. Matter of fact, for the rest of this video, I identify as a black butterfly, and I'm flying high through the sky. I am a black butterfly. But back to the point that I was making to you. Imagine for a moment you are one of these people, and you dumping all these millions of dollars into it. I mean, you spending money. And then, out of the blue, everybody starts to turn against you, because that's what's going on. The polls are showing it, people are saying it, and people are fed up with it.
Immigrant citizens, immigrant voters, foreign-born voters have gone tremendously to the right on this issue in 2024 and 2025 versus where they were in 2020. Closest to or trust more in immigration. You go back to 2020. Democrats, get this, held a 32-point lead on this issue. Immigrant voters were in the Democratic camp. Jump forward to 2024, 2025. Look at that shift, a 40 8-point shift to the right among immigrant voters. Republicans now lead on this issue by 8 points over Democrats, more so than any other group that I could find. The group of voters who became more hawkish on immigration were in fact immigrants themselves, immigrants who are registered to vote in this country.
So that's on that issue. How about how they feel about kind of traditionally, historically, about Donald Trump?
Yeah. So, you see this shift and you go, what is going on underneath the hood? Well, take a look, Donald Trump. You remember when he first ran back in 2016, immigrant voters were one of his weakest spots. But look at this. Trump's vote share in presidential elections among, again, immigrant citizens, those who are registered to vote. Look at this. In 2016, he got 36% of the vote. You go to 2020, 39% of the vote. Look at this. In 2024, all the way up to 47% of the vote. Some polls I looked at had him barely losing that vote. Some polls I looked at had him barely winning that vote. Again, there is no block of voters that shifted more to the right from 2020 to 2024 than immigrant voters. And Donald Trump, at least in some surveys, actually won that vote. On average, it's about equal. So there may be all this stuff, right, about undocumented immigrants and Trump being harsh on them, but immigrant voters themselves have increasingly liked Donald Trump and have increasingly moved to the right on immigration and into the Republican camp.
Well, then on that, what you're getting at, how immigrant citizens, voters, feel about people in the country illegally.
Yeah, and this is where it all kind of comes together, Kate Baldwin. Look at this. The net favorable rating, immigrants who are here illegally, among immigrant citizens, again, those registered to vote. In 2020, look at this, plus 23 points on the net favorable rating. But look at where we were in 2024, minus 6 points, underwater. So immigrant citizens have become increasingly unfavorable in their views of those immigrants who are here illegally.
So what does it all mean? It means that the Democrats' brainwashing is broken. It means that the media brainwashing is broken. It's why you see these people running around like they got like chickens with their head cut off, just saying the craziest stuff. It's equivalent to, you remember when you was a kid and you had that kid who was always picking on somebody, right? They always picking a fight. They'll go around a corner, pick a fight. They wait for you outside, they'll pick a fight, right? And then when you bust that kid in the nose, he don't necessarily run. He might fight and lose, but he gonna keep on just running his mouth. But he all blooded up. His nose is bust open. He got a black eye. His lip got a little cut on it right there. If you ever had a little cut on your lip, you know what I'm saying? Tooth a little loose, but he gonna just be yeah, blah, blah, blah. That's what the Democratic Party is right now. You wanna know why they're doing that? They're doing that because this is the Hail Mary. This is the last hope that they have, is to get some kind of major riot popping off in this nation. They already said they were planning on impeaching Donald Trump. They said it. They said, well, when we get into power again, we're going to impeach Donald Trump. So this is the only move they got. This is their only issue. When they went out and said, we're going to go visit Kilmore Abrega Garcia. Yeah, we need the free Kilmore. They put all their eggs in the basket of illegal aliens. As a matter of fact, I dare you to tell me one other basket that they got an egg in. They don't have no eggs in the basket of economy. They don't have the eggs in the basket of law and order. They don't have their eggs in the basket of like any other minority group. In fact, ladies and gentlemen, this is Pride Month. And I'm going to tell you what I think is amazing. Normally during Pride Month, the month of June, we have people running around with their pee-pees and their wee-wees all in our face with their flags and with their leather straps on all over the news. This is how desperate these people are. They tried to launch an insurrection in the middle of the month of one of their strongest constituents, the Pride Month community. So they just abandoned the whole Pride movement in exchange for the illegal aliens. And what I'm waiting on the Pride people to figure this out. I'm waiting for the rainbow flag to sit there and say, hold on, this is our month. This is our month, damn it. And I can't believe you decided that you're going to abandon us on our month. Yeah, that's what I'm waiting on. Yeah, that's what I'm waiting on.
Harris County is committed to continuing support of the Immigration Legal Services Fund, which funds nonprofits that provide legal and wraparound services to immigrants, including asylum seekers.
Now, I probably should have gave you some context before I hit you with that clip just now, but I wanted to make sure that you were still paying attention. If you happen to be here, hit the like button right now. I didn't want to keep it all in sequential order because sometimes people be zoning out and they be getting distracted and all the rest of that, right? But see, the point I want to make with this here clip is this. You see, as long as we have all these nonprofit, government-funded bailout programs for these illegals and these rioters, we going to have us a major problem. And see, that's how this thing that's scheduled for the 14th of this month is supposed to spread. They have their bailout funds all over the United States of America where they plan on bailing out their protesters. And you know, I'm thinking about this, ladies and gentlemen. I'm thinking about calling that phone number. They got a phone number that says, if you've been arrested, we'll bail you out. I'm thinking about calling that phone number live and being like, hey, I've been locked up, Holmes, and you said you was coming to get me, Holmes. And just go crazy. In fact, you know, what would be a great offensive move would be the phone numbers that they give out. If everybody would just start dialing the number and tying the lines up. Just keep dialing the numbers over. And if 1,000 people just started dialing all those numbers over, they'll never be able to bail anybody out of prison because all the numbers will be tied up and they'll stay in jail. But see, that's the kind of things that we got to think to do as citizens. Don't go out there in the streets and try and fight the people, but there's ways that you can disrupt them. They put their number online where they're going to bail people out. Put an auto dialer on it. Get a Google auto dialer and just dial it over and 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 over again. One by one by one by one by one by one by one. Anyway, back to the point I'm making. Then all this stuff is going on. And then this spat starts. Remember, I told y'all that this is Pride Month and it was a spirit of pride that's moving in the earth trying to get everybody to be upset. And then boom, it pops up between Gavin Newsom and Donald Trump. Gavin Newsom goes and he says, well, you know, I have not received, you know, he's a vampire. His teeth come out. I have not received one phone call from Donald J. Trump. Yes, last night I was laying in bed next to my supple, beautiful woman, sucking her blood from her neck. And Donald Trump claims that he called me. He has not called me. And then, of course, you know, Donald came out and trolled the man because that's what he is. He's the trolling president-in-chief. That's what he is.
Going on between Gavin Newsom and President Trump. Gavin Newsom, after President Trump said in the noon hour in the Oval Office that he called him yesterday or the other day, Gavin Newsom tweeted the following. He said, quote, there was no call. Not even a voicemail. Americans should be alarmed that a president deploying Marines on our streets doesn't even know who he's talking to. Well, President Trump contacted me from Air Force One on his way to Fort Bragg, North Carolina, where he'll be in just a little while. He said the first call to Gavin Newsom was not picked up. The second call Gavin picked up. We spoke for 16 minutes. I told him to essentially, quote, and this is quoting the president, get his ass in gear and stop the riots, which were out of control more than anything else. This shows what a liar he is. Said I never called. So here is the evidence. And here is the call log that the president sent me from his phone. This was June the 7th. Now, granted, this was on Saturday. But look, there's 1:22 o'clock in the morning. Which would have been 10 o'clock at night, 10:22 at night, California time. There was an outgoing call for 4 seconds. And then there was an outgoing call for 16 minutes. So that from the president, which says is proof that he spoke to Gavin Newsom early in the morning, our time, late at night, Friday night, would have been June 6th, I guess, in Los Angeles. So, Governor, over to you for the response.
Say that's next, right? We're waiting to see what if Governor Newsom has a response to the president's. Essentially, what he has there is the receipt for what he says is the call that was made.
I can confidently say at this point in time, ladies and gentlemen, that 12 months from now, the Democratic Party, the Democratic financiers, the Democratic donors will be looking back on this moment right here, saying to themselves, this was the dumbest mistake we ever made. This was the dumbest mistake we ever made. Now, I need you to understand something. I want to make it clear to you. It's the only move they have. The only move they have is insurrection and impeachment. And the further they go down this rabbit hole, they're just going to make it worse on themselves. As long as everybody stay cool, man. I know they got, protests popping up in Houston. They got them popping up in Dallas. They got them popping up in San Francisco. They had one or two in New York where they went to Trump Tower and all the rest of this. As long as everybody stay cool, man, they lose. Yeah, they going to lose bad. Because, again, the people whose hearts have been turned and eyes have been opened, their eyes are open. This really ain't about me and you. We see the truth. This is about the crazy people who sitting on their sofa, the crazy people who don't pay no attention. They're like, I'm going out to dinner with my friends tonight. Oh, did you hear about the riots? Oh, my goodness, those riots. I can't believe why they won't leave those poor illegals alone. Those people have a right to be here just like anyone else. It's them people that's got to have their eggs scrambled in their brains and woken up. They got to have the scales pulled from their eyes. And the only way you're going to get their attention is when stuff burns. And the better way to get their attention is when they own stuff burn. But until you get to that point, we got this problem on our hands. I think, me personally, I think about 78% of America's aware and awoke to what's going on. The rest of America is just sleep or extreme leftists. And then you got a percentage of America who don't even know what a woman is. That section of America is just hopeless. Can't do nothing with somebody who don't know what a woman is. You don't know you can't. Your mama is a woman. You don't know your mama a woman. I don't know what to tell you. Yeah. If you don't know that your mama is a woman, yeah, I don't think we can do anything with you. All right, that's it, guys. If you enjoyed the video, I'm going to ask that you like and subscribe and share, and I'll be back later.